Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. There were volcanoes in the God country, and burning magma burst out of the volcanoes. It was a country of magma. Every moment, there was magma bursting out of the volcanoes. At the center of the God country was a towering godly palace surrounded by endless flames, and there was a sculpture in front of the godly palace. It was a sculpture of Moluo. A being showed up in front of the godly palace. It was Moluo. Moluo was one of the talents in the Virtual Universe Company, and had become undying 30,000 years ago. Although he was only an official level undying, he was a pinnacle official level undying known as Wild Beast Official. After being beaten by Luo Feng, he had been craving to surpass Luo Feng. Unfortunately, not only did he not surpass Luo Feng, but he was now overpowered by Bo Lan and Rong Jun, both of whom were Emperor-level undying now. Although he was slightly inferior to Bo Lan and Rong Jun, he still demonstrated great potential, which was why he became a disciple of South Fox Country Master. Standing in the sky, Missouri Luo became startled. Someone's here. It was his God country. How could others enter his God country? Three towering beings showed up in a corner of the God country, and they teleported themselves to in front of Moluo. Moluo took a look at the three beings and felt relieved. He walked up and said, "Greetings, teacher." South Fox Country Master looked at him with pity. South Fox Country Master looked to the two Universe Masters beside him and nodded. Ganwu, North Lava. Ganwu Country Master gazed at Moluo coldly and shouted, "Moluo, are you aware of your crimes?" Crimes? Luo Feng was terrified. He couldn't help looking to his teacher, South Fox Country Master, who looked gloomy. This told him something was wrong. "I've been following the rules consistently," he said, "and I haven't done anything against the laws. I don't know what crimes I've committed." The Universe Knight in White, emanating sense of indifference, smirked. "South Fox," he said, "your disciple still dares to quibble." "Not quibbling," Moluo said anxiously. "Please give me the evidence that I've committed crimes, teacher." He looked to his teacher ardently. "You still don't know your crimes." South Fox Country Master shook his head. "This is an order from Milky Way Horde Leader. If you admit your crimes, you'll be sent to the First Star Domain Prison for 10,000 eras. If you don't, you'll be executed." Moluo shook his body and looked petrified. "Executed? I've committed crimes. I admit it." Moluo yelled. "Teacher, I admit it. You two Universe Knights, I admit it." "What crimes?" North Lava Knight asked. Ganwu Country Master stared at Moluo coldly. "What crimes?" said Moluo. "I don't really know." Moluo was apprehensive. He started to think quickly, his mind operated faster than it ever had in his life. He had been born an orphan, and after all the life or death experiences, he had formed a mature way of living. He would kill all those who posted a threat to him. And he wouldn't leave any traces. Now that these seniors from the Virtual Universe Company were here to question him, all the incidents flooded his mind. He had done many cruel things, but, theoretically, he had left no trace of his actions. There were some beings who knew what he had done, but no one had evidence. Milky Way Horde Leader's order, thought Moluo. Who is this Milky Way Horde Leader? Milky Way. A name came to Moluo's mind. Luo Feng. Luo Feng's home planet is Earth in the Milky Way. Could he be Milky Way Horde Leader? Moluo was undying, but he was so scared that he was sweating. He'd been following Luo Feng's process, and had been terrified when he'd learned that Luo Feng had become a disciple of Primal Chaos City Leader. He was certain that if Luo Feng divulged his actions to Primal Chaos City Leader, he would be doomed. However, Moluo had also done his research. He knew Primal Chaos City Leader was famously fair. "He won't prosecute me without evidence," thought Moluo. Initially, he had been scared, but he'd stopped being worried because Luo Feng hadn't revealed anything, even after all this time. As for Luo Feng's record on the original stars, Undying Fighters were not qualified to know about the original stars. Only Universe Masters, Universe Knights, and incredibly powerful, invincible emperors were qualified to know the truth about Luo Feng. Moluo had no idea what had happened. He didn't know about Luo Feng hunting on the original stars. Neither did he know that Luo Feng had killed more than 6,000 Universe Knights in one move. Luo Feng wants me dead. Moluo raised his head and looked at the three Universe Knights. North Lava Knight and Ganwu Country Master gazed at him coldly while South Fox Country Master kept shaking his head. It is him. Moluo looked at South Fox Country Master. Teacher, even you don't believe me. I didn't do anything. I adventured on Demon Note Mountain before, and we've had a feud since then because of valuables. I can't believe he still holds such a grudge against me after all these years. Teacher, please be fair. Show justice. North Lava Knight smirked. You're still quibbling. Interesting, said Ganwu Country Master and shook his head. It doesn't matter anymore. South Fox Country Master sighed. Moluo, I know that you're decisive, but I can't believe you're so ruthless. Teacher, I'm being framed, said Moluo. He didn't dare to admit it. He would be executed if he admitted it. Teacher. Moluo clenched his teeth. Tears welled in his eyes and rolled down his face. I'm being framed. Even if Luo Feng has become a Universe Knight, how can you allege that I'm guilty just because of what he said? I can only die to prove that I'm innocent. Strong godly power restrained every trace of Moluo's godly power. He wasn't even able to self-destruct under such suppression. Moluo couldn't help staring at Ganwu Country Master. Ganwu Senior, you. Moluo knew about resurrection, and was certain he would be revived if he acted indignantly. However, Ganwu Country Master didn't even give him a chance to self-destruct himself. Don't even try, Ganwu Country Master said. We're here to deal with you under the orders of Milky Way Horde Leader. You'll be executed now, as you didn't admit to your crimes. Moluo's eyes glinted with madness. Milky Way Horde Leader. Who is this Milky Way Horde Leader? Moluo yelled hoarsely. The Mr. Luo Feng you were talking about, said North Lava Knight. Luo Feng? Not possible. He just became a Universe Knight. How long has he been training himself? 100,000 years. How can he command you as only a Universe Knight? Moluo shook his head, unwilling to believe it. I know that I'll die, but please tell me who wants me dead. Ganwu Country Master gazed at Moluo. It's Mr. Luo Feng. Luo Feng has become a Universe Master. He's a pinnacle being in our human race. A Universe Master. Moluo opened his eyes wide. Luo Feng. A Universe Master. The same Luo Feng who had been kicked into the abyss had become a Universe Master. Milky Way Horde Leader is a Universe Master, said Ganwu Country Master. How can he frame you? His word is much more adequate than any evidence. You're indeed reckless. You dared to go against the orders of the Virtual Universe Company. No. I didn't. Moluo yelled. I don't believe Luo Feng has become a Universe Master. Not possible. Like the ground being cracked, Moluo's godly body started to crumble. It turned into dust, vanishing into thin air. All of a sudden, his god country, which was lively with magma bursting out of volcanoes a moment before, went dead. The volcanoes stopped erupting. And all the volcanoes went dead, and the god country started to turn cold. If Moluo could be resurrected, his god country could come back to life. Unfortunately, Moluo would never be revived. Let's go. Ganwu Country Master, North Lava Knight, and South Fox Country Master teleported themselves out of the dying god country. Earth, just as Moluo was executed. The foreigners living in the floating cities all roared. We must all migrate. Who gave the order? I sold the territory of an entire solar system, to get the residential right to live on Earth for 1,000 years. Who's going to compensate me? Not possible. You're trying to expel us. I'll report it back to my family and make you all regret it. After the power of Earth was discovered, residency rights on Earth became incredibly expensive. Only those with solid connections in the 5 powers could enter. Besides, they all went to Earth to give birth to their children, and after their children were born, they would leave Earth in no time. Those were all beings with powerful families in the human territory, and they had paid a huge price to come to Earth. But now, they were all going to be expelled. Virtual Universe Company, Huge Axe Dojo, Universe Mercenary Alliance, Universe First Bank, and Universe Star River Bank gave an order at the same time. Leave the Earth in 3 days. Otherwise, die. Those beings with powerful families were nothing in front of a Universe Master. All they could do was reluctantly leave Earth. When the enforcement team expelled all the migrants, the Pantheon in the solar system also disappeared. From now on, this would be the place where Milky Way Horde leader guarded forever. And mass construction began in the Milky Way. Earth? A black-haired man stood in the solar system, looking at the blue planet. He smiled, stepped into the atmosphere of Earth, and dived. 100,000 years later, what would Earth be like? Long grass would be all about. Amidst all the greenery that embellished the surroundings, there were numerous residential buildings of unique structures. Birds were often seen flying in the sky, which was a deep azure blue. The air would be fresh, and if the standards of human domain were to be applied, then Earth would be categorized as a top-tier SSS-grade life planet of the highest standard. Nature and technology would have achieved perfect harmony. There would be many people, men and women alike, walking along the streets, dressed either in their training gear or just casual clothes. There would not be any public transportation like cars on the roads, and the underground tunnels that connected Earth to the various cities around would be advancing at a speed of 18,000 miles, the speed that allowed the people to arrive at other cities with much ease. Of course, allowing several large continents to stretch across the seabed to form tunnels would also be possible, because of Luo Feng's authority. Earth would be entirely different, Luo Feng gasped in admiration. Shushin smiled and replied, "It will be even more different in the future." They walked along the street as a couple, looking just like any other ordinary husband and wife. The other people could not tell the difference at all. Actually, even if one had seen Luo Feng, their memories of him would vanish immediately in the blink of an eye. There was no way they could remember anything about him. Luo Feng observed everything around him carefully. Earlier on, he had sent Remote Ocean Body to garrison Earth. Yet Remote Ocean Body merely sat cross-legged in silence, in a quiet room deep within the Luo's family house. He would only make an appearance if a crucial situation occurred. Except for the other 2 times when Luo Feng had to accompany his family, Remote Ocean Body did not make any move at all. "Shushin, I realized that star traveler levels are frequently seen here," said Luo Feng. "I saw many along the way." He could not hold it back longer, so he asked, "Are star traveler levels that common?" Over 10,000 years, Earth would not have been able to develop so fast where the majority was star traveler levels. Shushin shook her head. "Oh well. The mysteries of Earth are top secrets, though they were never disclosed. However, large families of the top 5 powers like the Virtual Universe Company, the Huge Axe Dojo, and the Universe Mercenary Alliance were all finding ways to enter Earth. You should have figured this out by now. The right to reside on Earth is in hot demand now." Luo Feng nodded. Previously, immigrants of the Earth's ocean would be aliens, while those on land would be us Earthlings, Shushin said. Over 10,000 years of development, Earthlings are now scattered all over the Ganwu universe, and even in other universes. The numbers are immeasurable. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. In the past, the Earthling population has never been able to achieve a breakthrough. That was because there was a limitation of land. With the limitation lifted, there was a large quantity of grains as provisions. If there was a rapid multiplication of Earthling population thereafter, it would be understandable. Said Shushin said. Just like that, the Earthling population has multiplied to such a massive number that it might be incomparable. Putting others aside, just the number of people in our Luo family is intimidating enough. Luo Feng nodded. The population in Luo family had long exceeded the size of one star field. No matter how development progressed, to increase the population size by 100 million times in 5,000 years was normal, but for a development that had progressed for more than 100,000 years, the population size would be so massive that it sounded exaggerated. Regardless of how much power the Luo family had, their massive size would still go under the influence of territorial limitations. Therefore many members of the Luo family had to settle down on other planets, or even in other universes. If the massive Luo family would face such a situation, what would the overall situation on Earth look like? At the Earth Management Association level, making use of the virtual universe would still be impossible to create identification records of every Earthling. After all, in the vast universe, if unfortunate events like air crashes happen and Earthlings were caught and enslaved by mineral planets, in a place where the population was so immense that it was impossible to keep track, the Earth Management Association would not be able to cover everything, or everyone, comprehensively. The population is too big, Shushin said. Now we have to authenticate all the Earthlings' identities. Firstly, identity registration. More than 99% have been documented. Secondly, gene authentication. The Earthling branch of the family has a unique kind of gene that is very different from the other races among humanity. On Earth, land domain must be occupied by Earthling residents. If it were occupied by the other races, no matter how powerful or wealthy they would not be granted the right of abode. Time passed, and the right to reside on Earth is in hot demand now. There are some residents on Earth who yearn for a more luxurious life. Therefore, they sold off their rights of abode and left Earth for another life planet. Maybe this was how some became planet horde leaders. Because the right to reside on the land on Earth can only be traded between Earthlings, the price was not as exaggerated as the value that alien immigrants had set. But it was nonetheless extremely high. Wanting to become a planet horde leader, wanting a life with illimitable luxuries, or wanting to become a great being with the ability to purchase great quantities of resources. The bottom line is, the right to reside on land on Earth is continually being traded, as there are some Earth elites with status and power who are continually entering Earth. There will be changes from generation to generation. Those who are able to enter Earth are all the cream of the crop. They have roamed the universe and established their business empires, or have become great fighters, or great spirit readers. Therefore, more than half of our elites from the trillions of people of our entire Earth branch are gathered here on Earth. Shushin smiled. Which was why, on Earth, star traveler levels are frequently seen, even star levels to universe levels can often be seen. There are also quite a few undying beings living here on Earth. Luo Feng sighed and nodded. The undying spirit. It was true that with enough cultivation, the chances of becoming a great being would increase. Now, the Earthling branch had a total of 11 undying spirits, including Luo Feng, Hong, and Thunder God. 5 were staying on Earth. The number of sector lords was even bigger. With such might and power, it was no wonder universe masters of the 5 major factions of humanity thought so highly of Earth. The right of abode on Earth's land can be freely traded as one pleases. Luo Feng asked. So long as it is a transaction between an Earthling and Earth, free trading is the best option, Shushin shook her head. One end is willing to buy, and the other end is willing to sell. Who can stop them? This would help our Earth branches, holy ground, to continue rising up the ranks. After all, this is where over half the elites from the Earth branch are gathered. But Earthlings of high status and with strong powers would all want their future generations to get stronger, even if those Earthlings were already used to living on other planets. But for their younger generations, they would purchase the right of abode on Earth and send 2 to 3 family members over to stay here on Earth. It can also be said this way. Earth is where more than 50% of elites of the Earthling branch are gathered. Out of the first million Earth elites, 99% of them hold the right of abode on Earth. Luo Feng nodded. This was good, too. The longer they took, the higher the status of the holy ground, Earth, would be. It had only been over 100,000 years of developing since the Earthling branch became a universe. There were many aspects of it that were yet to be considered extremely powerful, like the number of great beings, the power of its associations, and many more. As time passed, elites of this branch would gradually emerge into prominence. According to what the higher-ups of humanity calculated, the Earthling branch's continual development would be comparable to at least 10% of humanity. How many undying spirits would that be? How many universe nights? Clearly, the potential of the Earthling branch had just emerged and had yet to be fully unleashed. This unleashing of potential would need enough time. The greatest difficulty now is that the outstanding youths of our Earthling branch are unable to receive the best cultivation they could get, Shushin said. Based on the data we retrieved from the alien immigrants, once a wife gets pregnant, she should enter Earth within the first 3 months of pregnancy. If the entire process from the gestation period of the fetus to the day the baby is born happens under the influence of Earth's environment, then there is bound to be a transformation. Therefore, it is crucial to rush to Earth during the first 3 months of pregnancy. Any later than that, and the effect will be very different. Our Earth Management Association manages a large number of Earthling youths, cultivating them with great care, then singling out the cream of the crop for deeper cultivation. We have wealth. But teaching them required a great deal of resources, for instance, a good teacher and a conducive environment for them to train in. Our family alone is insufficient. What we have come up with so far is nothing compared to the cultivation mechanism of the Ganwu universe. This has, to a certain degree, affected the rising of the Earthling branch. Luo Feng nodded and considered for a while. I will make arrangements as quickly as I can, he Luo Feng. Cultivation was very important. Like Luo Feng, Hong, and Thunder God, if they had not stepped off Earth and advanced into the universe, if Luo Feng had not received Junmo Star Master's treasure, and Barbata's guidance, then naturally Golden Horned Beast would be gloriously sacrificed. The three of them would obviously be greatly limited, and the chances of attaining the universe level would also have been very low. Yet the moment they received cultivation, all three each displayed a dazzling light, and were completely different right away. And if the Earthling branch wanted to rise up to recognition, cultivating the new and younger generations was obviously crucial. The mechanism that other universe masters use to cultivate their younger generations is highly matured, said Luo Feng. I shall take some reference from them and then make use of my own resources to establish my own mechanism. That should do. Luo Feng nodded to himself. Humanity has many places for cultivating their kind. The only problem is that even universe knights are not qualified to arrange for a large batch of members to undergo training simultaneously. But a universe master could. For instance, sending their family members to Blood River World, or some other places. Of course, Luo Feng also needed to pay a small price for it, but to him, it was a piece of cake. After the alien immigrants' major move out of Earth, Earth started to undergo transformation once again. Making use of marine resources, re-coordinating ocean and land, the natural order was enhanced to nearing perfection. Also, some restructuring was done to the numerous floating cities that were once occupied by alien immigrants to make them more suited for Earthlings to live in. The floating cities were normally a few hundred stories to 1,000 stories high. If residing on land was said to be done using 1 or 2 stories of land, then on a floating city of an alien immigrant, it would be considered a highly effective use of space. Adding up the surface area of the vast oceans, the total would come to a much greater amount compared to that of land. Although the distance between floating cities was vast, when all the floating cities suspended in the skies above the vast oceans like the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Indian Ocean were put together, the amount of space could accommodate a few 100 billion people. This will be able to accommodate a few 100 billion of people. We can then allow many young Earthling mothers to quickly enter Earth. We should also try our best to get them to arrive here on Earth within the first 3 months of pregnancy. Earthlings who were born on Earth, their cultivability is much stronger. On the other hand, for Earthlings born on extraterrestrial planets, the chances of producing great beings are worrying because they are much too low. Various plans were speedily formulated. Then, one by one, they were implemented. The first thing Luo Feng did when he returned to Earth was to make use of his power to start boosting the development of the Earth branch. He made a perfect combination out of his resources and the race's resources, which then sped up the rate of development of the Earthling branch tremendously. He believed that soon, it would not be wishful thinking for the Earthling branch to want to be stronger than the Yangshan race branch. If the Earthling branch can have some universe knights and a large number of undying spirits, and go on to see the emergence of a universe master, that would be even greater. Luo Feng secretly looked forward to this. However, it would require a long time. There were several beasts on the farms where weeds were growing. Many varieties of broken cars sat abandoned and ruined on the highway. Some of them were tipped over, and the dust on the highway told its history. A shadow walked on the highway. Reserve? Luo Feng walked on the shabby highway, recalling the past a long time ago, when he first joined the Fire Hammer Squad and adventured in the wilderness. He remembered Chen Jiyu, who used fiery weapons, who was very friendly to him. He remembered Zhongku, who lost his arm. The Wei brothers, who were skilled with a scimitar. And of course, that Captain Jiao who was powerful with hammers. It's been more than 100,000 years. Luo Feng shook his head and smiled. Those were the brothers who had endured troubles with him before. However, Luo Feng had been adventuring through the universe, and he didn't even have time to see his family members. As for those old friends, he had only seen them a few times. Luo's family had been secretly helping those old friends without affecting their lives. Time was cruel, however, and more than half of Luo Feng's friends had died. Although Luo Feng's family had infinite wealth, it still had control over resources. The family would help their old friends, but they wouldn't improve their friends' power to at universe level or domain lord level. There were still many reserves on Earth, which were remains from the era of Headquarter City. Some of the beasts were protected as endangered animals. Those animals were allowed to live in the reserves, on the cracked highways, in rolled-over cars. Ruined buildings in the reserves were renovated. New material was applied, material that could last for a long time. The surface was deliberately made to look ancient. After all, the concrete used before was not likely to be maintained. Tourists had to view them from spaceships in the sky. The areas could not be trespassed, and the beasts inside were off-limits. As for Luo Feng, he went in via teleportation. He had the highest access authority to the entire defense system of Earth, so he could get in without any problem. Luo Feng jumped up to the balcony on the 6th floor. He looked down. He could hear faint, beastly roars as he looked at the moon. Just like before, whispered Luo Feng. He frowned. Huh. He disappeared from the balcony. In a sky around 800 light-years away from Earth was a group of towering, resplendent palaces. Powerful guards walked within the palaces. Sector Lord guards and even undying servants were walking through corridors that were tens of millions of miles long. These were Luo Feng's godly palaces. Inside the tallest main palace, fires burned around 12 gigantic pillars. Suddenly, a giant being showed up on the throne. It was Luo Feng's 6,000-mile-tall body. He looked down at the three beings. Three beings bowed at the same time. Milky Way Horde Leader. Ganwu, Kwangju, North Lava. Luo Feng smiled and looked down. You've done a great job. All of them had dealt with the issues he had asked them to do, and they had finished today. Of course, he needed to meet with the three of them. There was much more he needed these three universe knights to help him with. It's our honor to serve Horde Leader, said Kwangju as he raised his head, followed by Ganwu Country Master and North Lava Knight. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. From now on, you'll be in charge of everything here. You can connect to the virtual universe if you need me, or you can crush your keepsake. Yes. Three universe knights bowed. Luo Feng nodded and said, you may go now. The three universe knights bowed and left the palace. Luo Feng was 6,000 miles tall. He put his hands on the armrests and raised his head to look at the towering godly palace 6 million miles tall. Even for Luo Feng, the godly palace felt like an endless sky. The godly palaces are all so large, whispered Luo Feng. Okay. I've been studying the second level of Star Tower. However, I still haven't fully completed the second level of Shawu Wings, which is inferior to Star Tower. I'll spend my time on Earth studying the Shawu Wings. Luo Feng disappeared. He could arrive at Earth within one teleportation, as Earth was less than 1,000 light-years away from his godly palaces. As for the 3 Universe Knights, Undying Guards, and Sector Lord Guards and Servants, they had been arranged by the Virtual Universe Company. Generally, a Universe Master would select some Universe Knights as their disciples. There were only a few Universe Masters within the human race, most of whom were reluctant to take disciples, so most Universe Knights could be disciples of Universe Masters. Primal Chaos City Leader wanted Luo Feng to take disciples. Luo Feng, however, not only needed to train himself, but also hadn't reached the Universe Master level at law comprehension. That was why he hadn't taken any disciples. Instead, he had chosen 3 Universe Knights to deal with his issues. Those Universe Knights who worked for Luo Feng directly had Luo Feng as a connection now. Those with connections were on a totally different level than those who didn't have them. Luo Feng firstly chose Ganwu Country Master and Kwangju Knight, who were close to him. Then Ganwu Country Master had recommended North Lava Knight, who was his friend. Thus, these 3 Universe Knights were under Luo Feng now. Ganwu Country Master would never find himself in an embarrassing situation with Luo Feng as his connection. Ganwu, I can go to Horde Leader only because of you, said North Lava Knight. I can't even repay you. North Lava, we're best friends, said Ganwu Country Master, and you've helped me lots of times. This is nothing. Ganwu Country Master, Kwangju Knight, and North Lava Knight had turned the tables around now. Having connections set them apart. They were bestowed with 1 ordinary true treasure each when Luo Feng admitted them. It was enough to make other Universe Knights jealous. Luo Feng made a portal connecting his god country with Earth. He was able to quickly go back to his god country from Earth and to arrive back at Earth from his god country. With that path, even space shock. 12 years passed. Shawu Wing is more complicated than I thought, said Luo Feng. I've spent 12 years, and I've finally fully comprehended the second form. Luo Feng teleported from his palace to a silent sky hundreds of light years away. He didn't dare try the second form of the Shawu Wings while on Earth. With his power, a slight trace of his Shawu Wings could dismantle Earth. Luo Feng stood in space, his eyes gleaming. Let me see the power of the second form of Shawu Wings. The 4-winged Shawu Wings were a top-tier true treasure. The first form of the 4-winged Shawu Wings was more powerful than the second form of the 2-winged Shawu Wings. And the second form of the 4th wing should be more powerful than the third form of the 2-winged version. The first form was called Space and Time in Disorder. But what about the second form? Endless burning power flooded Shawu Wings along the engraving sculptures, and the power triggered all the sculptures. Instantly, the second level of sculptures on Shawu Wings were completely utilized, and the silver wing immediately started to change. The wing became sharper, and golden threads appeared on it. An elegant, but powerful force permeated from it. It made Shawu Wings stronger than ordinary top-tier true treasures. The sky was enveloped in golden light. Luo Feng stood in the sky in silence. No matter how powerful the second form of Shawu Wings was, Luo Feng wouldn't be overly surprised. Rather, the function of Shawu Wings was what thrilled him. Luo Feng looked around. There is a star-level strange beast on a planet 1.2 light-years away. He looked in another direction. And there is a construction team 2.9 light-years away from me, reconstructing that planet. There's a spaceship 3.8 light-years away from me. There's Sector Lord team on patrol, 19.6 light-years away from me. The 80 square light-year area was entirely enveloped by the blurry golden light. This area was completely under Luo Feng's control, and he knew everything that was happening within the area. How come? The more Luo Feng sensed everything around him, the more thrilled he got. Even Universe Masters aren't able to control such a giant area. Suppression. Luo Feng triggered the wing, and the constraining power on the space surged. All the spaceships in this area immediately slowed down. Some stars started to tremble. If Luo Feng didn't control his power intentionally, those stars would have been annihilated. Suppression. Luo Feng pointed to a star in the distance. The star, its 3 planets, and all the many asteroids held within its gravity were all annihilated under power that could kill a universe night. A whole solar system vanished from existence just like that. So powerful. Luo Feng put all the suppression on himself. He could feel the incredible constraining power. It's stronger than that of universe masters. Luo Feng felt constraint akin to a universe master's control over space and time. He could tell clearly that his control over the area of 80 square light-years was more powerful than that of universe masters, but of course, it was still inferior to that of universe supreme masters. It's more powerful than that of universe masters. My Shawu wings, Luo Feng was overjoyed. The first form can throw time and space into disorder, and the second form can fully control space and time. The control is stronger than that of universe masters, and so is the range. Luo Feng narrowed the golden light. I can control the size. Impressive. He smiled. From now on, I'll have the ability to control space and time. Who will doubt that I'm a universe master? Ha ha. It was within his expectations to discover that the second form had such a function, but it was an exhilarating surprise. I'll name the second form of Shawu wings, whispered Luo Feng, who was covered with golden light, golden country. This video will end here.